What you're watching is the development of the Motone BMW R9T clay model back in 2017. Ever since it was done, I always wanted to see what it would have looked like with a fairing on it. So, back in 2021, armed with my new VR headset and boundless enthusiasm, I did exactly that and built a front fairing for this bike using Gravity Sketch. With the move from a round headlight with high bars to a fixed racing fairing, the bars had to come down into a more aggressive riding position. As you'll see in a moment, I wasn't really concerned about ergonomics and I actually dropped the bars impractically low. I revisited this project recently to get some shots of it for the new Sculpt 3D website, and I couldn't help myself from trying to rebuild it as a practical possibility.
I've got this BMW R90 now set up over my SV650 Custom, which is in the real world, and yeah, I can tell very quickly that actually the riding position of the BMW is really aggressive. Those bars are really too low. It looks amazing, but actually, ultimately, it's if I jump on it here quickly, I can compare the bar height. The seat height is the same, and I can compare the bar height here. And actually, these bars are way too low. I can verify that that's not going to work if I just take it over there to my ergonomics buck. So we've got the bike set up there on the ergonomics buck now, and we can test the rider triangle. I've got the seat set to the right height. I've got the bars roughly coincident with the ones in the real world. I'm just going to put my controllers down here and climb on, and I can feel that is going to be a very, very aggressive riding position with the hands so low. So yeah, not going to be particularly comfortable for any period of time. So I'm definitely going to have to lift up those bars. I think I'm going to try and match the riding position of the Suzuki, because that bike was built around me, and it's perfect. As you see here, I've imported the scan of my Suzuki here, and I've lined up the front end pretty much, and I've lifted up the bars into a position which is not quite as high as those bars. I could deal with it a little bit lower, and so this will reduce the amount that we have to lift up the front end. So now with the bars up in a much more ergonomic riding position, I'm actually going to have to lift the entire fairing to accommodate the full lock position. Now I'm going to move all these points up. Right, let's just pop that there. So now I'm just going to take these guys and rotate them back down a little bit around this point here. I got it kind of close, and now I can just really get all these to run nicely, and the highlights will automatically be good. That is running off the end there. Actually, you know what I want to try and do is get that to run through here. So then we're going to take these guys at this angle. Now the problem is I've got the topologies wrong, so I'm never going to get this right. That negative there needs to run around into that negative there, and so I've got it running to the wrong place. So I need to figure that out. You know what I love about this is just being able to grab the model and just pulling it, just have it in front of me here, and just check out the flow of all these edges and make sure that I've got them running with a nice flow, and then that actually in turn just means that my highlights are going to run nicely. If I control the volumes and I control the intersections, then the highlights are just a description of that. But I think this really kind of demonstrates the difference that I see between 3D and 2D flat monitor modeling. Being able to grab this and hold it in your hand and spin it around. Well, we ain't going to get them perfect. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to have design flexibility, which we have tons of design flexibility. So it's incredible that in only a couple of hours I've managed to go from this version with the low bars and the low fairing over to this version here, which has got the higher bars. I've lifted them up some 60 millimeters, and really, yeah, being able to walk around this thing and modify it has meant that I could actually really build it as if it was right here in front of me. So this is just an incredible tool. And look, you know, so I can go in here and just maybe I'm gonna take a little bit off there. Maybe just add a little bit in here. I promise myself I'm going to stop tickling this thing. It's just been a fun exercise, but I hope you can recognize the power in being able to work in this way with the model, like just right in front of you. Like the speed at which we can work is just unparalleled. Okay, we're going to call it a day there.